Dear Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for this opportunity to work on Rocket Linux. Please let it work out, make the game, make back its budget, and then some. Help me not have wasted a year for this. I pray, amen. Let me turn curtain off. Weird way of phrasing it. That's a weird code. Alright, anyways. Back to final push. We're actually finished that level. Number one is first Rocket Man Axe. The final push camera. Rocket. Final push rocket. And focus fight mouse. Go find fight and mouse. Mouse. And then we will get phase 2. Right phase. Trying to push camera, let's open this as well. And then give it a sphere. No collision. Alright, and then we out, and then we will get really big. Let us make it 2,000. What I have in my 2 hands is enough to set me free. I can fight the feeling to resist it over time. But when it's just too much to say, you sneak up from behind. Is it me you say you're looking for? Let me show you who I am and what I'm here for. Here for. Hey, but reach inside of me. Try to drain my energy. Let me show you just what I'm made of. Simple curiosity. Alright, now let us add some qubit now. Go to 0, 0, 0, minus 1,000, and then set it to 1,000 by 1,000 and now let's set it to something more reasonable, like 300 by 300, and then check it out. Say you're looking for. Let me show you who I am and what I'm here for. Gotta reach inside of me. Gotta drink my energy. Let me show you just what I'm made of. Simple curiosity. Gotta take a bite of me. Let me show you just what I'm made of now. Character movement and then max fly. Let's fly. Let's fly speed. Let's set it to something more reasonable. speed 9,000. Check it out. Rap phase 2. Oh, also max acceleration. Yeah, J. Max fly speed. And then let's check this out. For curiosity, gotta take a bite of me. Let me show you just what I'm made of now. Let's try a more reasonable number. 4,500. 4,500 followed by 7,000. And then go to rap. 4,500. And then let us try this for the final push instead. Okay, and then let us delete this, and then go over to random objects. Class, final push. Final push. Level tile. And now we make a cube. And we'll set it to 300 by 300. And then give it the material of grass. Where did the time go? Running scared for so many years, and now I'm here. I look round, but I don't see anyone. Everything I love's come and gone. I walk alone with a loaded gun. What went wrong? Attached to every story, the defeat of the pain and the glory. Gone, gone, it all burns away. But how did it go so wrong? Now it's all gone. Where did my life go? I look in the mirror at what I see. It ain't me. These streets are paved with fantasies of what the other half can be, but now they're flying in the breeze. There's two sides to every story, the defeat of the pain and the glory. Gone, gone, it all burns away. But how did it go so wrong? Now it's all gone. Gone, gone, forget yesterday. It ain't worth the pain. It ain't worth the pain. The pain of remembering. Two sides to every story, the defeat of the pain of the glory. Gone, it all burns away. But how did it go so wrong? Now it's all gone. Gone, gone, forget yesterday. It ain't worth the pain. It ain't worth the pain of remembering. Push the pain of remembering. Forget yesterday. It ain't worth the pain. It ain't worth the pain. The pain. The pain of remembering. Alright, we'll try 3,000. Okay, try 30,000. So it's 30,000 more than our current position. So then we'll go 60,000. Alright. Final push level time. And then now we will add a cube. Sorry, a box collision. Let's click the default root and then add a box collision. And then now we will make it quite big. And then we will have to make it live. Put you right here. And then now we're gonna put you there. Put you right there. Maybe even a bit there. And then once you begin overlap, if the other actor has the tag player, if the other actor is the player, then set actor collision. What we'll do is we will say variables, we want to do one variable, and compile and plug new variable in. New variable's default value should be that. New variable is set to false, and then we will set actor location. The new location which should be get plus get actor location. Alright, and it will be 90,000. If we will delay a second and then new variable can be true again. And then the final push rocket we need to make sure you have the tag for the actor, which is player. Now we need to verify why it's not working. Final push rocket. Great overlap events. Final push, let's do the final. Double tile. Now we will. The case print string, and then it will say so if something collides. Hello, final push level tile. You P-L-A-Y-E-R. P-L-A-Y-E-R. Oh. Final push. Alright, what if I did Final Push Rocket? We just change this back to 9,000. And then back to... Sorry, not 9,000. Yeah, 9,000. 12,000. I don't know. And then max fly speed goes to 9,000, and then when we go here, and the next we will say it will be over 2. Actually, we don't have to do that. And then we will go over to this part right here. And then go over to here. Divide by 2, and then divide. Actually, I cannot do this because it will interfere with other stuff instead. Let us do leave that and actually do this other. Divide for all 3, and then do it again. Divide all you by 0, and then change it. And then set local relative. Set relative rotation. Split the structure and then drag the pens inside of it. So now it will look more natural, but it will still. And final push rocket. We can go into this code here and then try it. Divide by 2, divide by 2. Divide by 2. Divide by 2 for both of you. And then now we can test it. Yeah, we're going by a lot faster. Okay, then we go to the final push level tile and then grab all of the trees. Grab all of the trees on there, and a few of them. select anything there. Oh, it should be 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 18, 24, 23, 22. So it's anything that's less than 21. And then we'll find anything that's less or more than 21. And then also don't look at the boss. And then check the final push, and then also we now do check the trees. And then wrath phase 2, we will set the stack to 9,000. Final push. Right, Control C and V changes to a 9 and go to the final push level tile and advanced graph. We don't need this anymore. And then now we can change this 9 to a 12. Alright, let's fix this. Add a box collision and then make it really, really big. And ensure that there's no way for Rocket to get past you. And then find the heart of you. Okay, and that wrath phase 2. Now we will check the box collision begin overlap. Gets to PP underscore final push rocket. And then we will say something like we will set our health. Wow. That's a 3. And then once we do this, we will say my decrement in, and then we will character movement set, movement max fly D2 700. Now let's go. 200,000. and then we will delay by about 5 seconds, and then we will set max fly speed back to 900,000. I mean, 90,000. No, it was 9,000. Oh wait, no. It's gotta be. It's not. It'll just be 20,000. Okay, final push. Let's see what happens when the two of us collide. The two of us collide. We will collide between the two of us. Maybe not that fast. Let's just say 15. And maybe set a 5 instead of 2 seconds instead. Let's check it out. Bum 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 bum. Rise up and fly. Alright, then we will go to third person. Third person game mode. Even truck, no fireworks. Where's the fireworks? Fun coin fire work particles. Also, we need to do something like this. Copy this, and then we will go to the game mode. Third person game mode. Okay, what about something like final push? Final push mode, okay. Open full blueprint editor, then we must paste that copy and then we'll push in here. Firework particles. Create variable firework particles. And then firework particles, and then instead of it being a custom event, the settings, go to import interfaces, and it will be actors that get got, actors that get got, and then now we will compile and override firework particles. Okay, what is that? Oh, it is just a custom event. Never mind. Custom event, firework, particles, and then get an input of vector 3 for the location, and then put the location right there, and then save, and then we go to the rat phase 2. Next, we will get game mode. Actually, we'll do this right here, and then cast to BP. I'm sorry, final push mode, and then plug ya into there. Promote to variable GM, and then they go to the GM, and then firework particles, and we can put Get actual location. Plus this, get actual location of the other actor. And we will divide this by 2. That's 1. We need it divided by 2. Then we will finish an actor. Material. In element 0 to white glass. White hat and then delay by 0.5, and then now we can get over to the side and do this. Set it to spike and mouse mask. Put you between them. Also, we will say something like invincible and then the Boolean if we are invincible. Do it before that. If the invincible is false, then the first thing we will do is we will set it as true. Then we go all through this, and then invincible can be false again. Wrath phase 2, Wrath phase 2. Plug that in and try again. And now we got this. And now we got this. Wrath phase 2, and then firework particles, and then if invincible is false, Richard the boat says so. Now we should be able to. Oh, I see what's going on here. Then we will do the casting before. Can do that, so now we should be able to get this working, and it shouldn't be reactivated by something else. don't need you going that fast. That's such a 285. And then you go to character movement and fly speed down to 285. And then now we go to the final push. Okay, Rocketman X. Particles, no more particles, and model. Sending over Spider and Mallet. And then now we will create a blueprint class, and then it will be an actor. The underscore Wrath Fireball. And then we will give it a box collision and a Niagara. Firewall. Sure. Through the pressure, everything's just fine. An illusion, I'll be losing you before long. Alright, so now we can do something like desired location vector. This is edible. Goes on spawn. Compile. And we could say something, I don't know. Set actor location. Through the pressure, everything just fly. First we'll do begin overlap. Other actor has tag player. Pressure, everything's alright. Apply points damage to them. Like 2 or something. Split the shock pen and do the same for you. And then now we would say 32. The interpt constant. This is not the current, this is the target. Get actor location. And then you interpt just the speed from here to that. Enter speed. I don't know. 5,000. And then we will say. Sorry. Desired location to desired location plus. No. Put this broken that into there. 5,000. Running around at the speed of sound. Got places to go, gotta follow my rainbow. Can't stick around, have to keep moving on. I said only one way to find out. Must keep on, oh I forgot. Set you free, and then we will set hell to help minus the damage, and then set custom event iframes inputs and it's an integer frames. Then we will say get the set put it in game. Sorry. Get hidden in game, and then we will say if this is greater than or equal to 0, then we will do that, and then we will say iframes after this, and then I will be frame minus. How down traffic. Fight Malice. Iframes, where are you at? Point 1. Point 1. Point 1. Otherwise we will set hidden in game. Set hidden in game 2, not hidden. Not Boolean. And then get one invincible. And it will set invincible to false, and then once we do this we will say invincible's false. If invincible's false, then invincible is now true. And then we will so I pray with 5 invincible. And we'll do this if the health is greater than 0. Otherwise, we need to get some new F mods. Hurt. Slayer death. Die and then now we will play. Go get the rank. Hitman X Allen. BP Rocket Mac. It's the fastest loading one, I think. And now we gain new life. What do we do on die? How died play? And then now we will make an explosion. That's Spike Malice, sorry. We don't need you anymore. We don't need you guys anymore either. Bio Rocket! Hurt. That's not what I wanted. What audio? And it will be rocket damage. And then we will play Hitosujimi Mute Hoko Hoko Forest. Delay by 3 seconds. Delay by 3 seconds. Not 0.3, by 3. And then we will set actor hidden in game. Get game mode. And then pass to final push mode. Fireworks. Particles. And get actor location. And we will explode. Play by like 1 sec. Delay by 1 second. Delay by 1 sec. And then we will get save file. Get lives. And then set lives to this minus that. -1. Then go to the Mac. Check it out. Add the sound effect, and then we do that. Save game in slot. Save game in slot. Get push. If we are live, are less than or equal to 0, then we game over. Otherwise, we will reload the game. Alright. And now we will take damage to that. Explode set parameter. And then now we have got that F-Mod sound system at Mod Studio. Rocket Man X Master Foley F-Mod. And then we find the player attack. Did I actually set it to player attack? And then I gotta turn off the auto activate for all of that many ways. Weapon set it to a value of 1. Weapon set to a value of 1, and we get Wrath phase 2. We also will say once we do this. Whoa. Get explode and then we will play. Yeah, that's every time. Man, we so strong. 5 to 2 and wrong. Facing up and down the wall. Sisters to us all. Final push rocket. And then we will compile the new parameter, refresh the node, and then we will try again. Spectacular, spectacular Spider-Man spec. Alright. So now we got that. Play Wrath phase 2. There's a place in Candyland for everyone but me. For licorice is all but bad when loved is what it should be. Box collision. But don't drop out, soon find out it's all about to change. As all who know me might suppose, I've hatched a tasty plot. A licorice that grows and grows until there's more than a lot. I'll place it in the circle, squeak, and watch it quickly rise. But soon my chewy sticky goo will reach into the skies. Licorice here, licorice there, far as you can see. The final level 5. Wrath fireball. And if it is a final push camera, get an egg. Tag. Chocolate pops and strawberry shakes. And fire. Oh ho hee hee ha ha. Licorice treats will fill the streets, a glorious display. Actor hashtag Control AV, and then if this is the case, then we will destroy the actor. Soon they'll understand. Think so great, so grand here in Licorice Land. I will rule from a castle with a pool. I'll look great on my licorice estate. Have a throne of my own, a licorice crown upon my head. I'll even wear it to bed. Licorice here, licorice there, far as you can see. The smell of licorice in the air. Soon they'll understand. Things have been so bland. Life will be utterly grand here in Licorice Land. Alright. Then when we get the final Wrath phase 2. Alright. Custom event, then we will fireball. So delay for a random floating range. Something between 1 and 3. delay like 2 seconds. Fireball, and once you are done, you will do this. You will from glass or loop, and then we'll do something like an if. Random integer in range equals from 0 to 10 if it equals. Well, we can do something, I don't know, switch statements, sure. Switch on int. We'll go 1, 10, inclusive, right? Yeah, inclusive. We can go 0 through 5 by that. BP underscore wrath fireball. And then the first index will be 0, but the last will be, depending on health, get health. So we could say something like times 3. Actually, no, let's go 7. So our health starts at 3, so the highest it'll be 21. So it needs to be at least 22. Integer in range. Alright, so minimum is 22. Highest will be 25. And then wrap fireball and get at your location. And then we will desired locations construct pin. Okay, we'll say we can do that later. Then we will. Sorry, this gets active location. And then the desired location will be random vector in range. Okay. $19.40. Oh, wait. We already know the limits are going to be 500 by 900? Yeah, 500 on Z, 900 on Y. Make vector. Yeah, break vector goes into X-ray and unfloat in range, and the minimum will be minus 900 and the maximum will be 900. And then minus 500 by positive 500. Double check that that is the correct numbers. Alright, then we will just say that is the case. Alright, and then once we have completed, then we will delay a second. And then fireball. Okay, finish level tile. Final push rocket, right phase 3. I see. I failed the checks. And the default bench will go into there. For now, we don't need this, we just need the selection. Final push. Okay, put a fireball. It would appear that you can't be this big. Niagara to have to be one, and you as well. Let's try this again. Alright. Wrath Fireball. We're going to say that 5,000 is too much for you. No, actually it'd be too little. 9,000. No, not 9,000. It can't be that high. 7,000. 7,000. Final push. Save. And then, yeah, we go like this. Okay, it can't be that fire. Particles, wall fire. Instead of wall fire. Firewall, there we go. So 3. Firewall 1, yeah, we can just keep that. Alright, the lifespan. Lifetime mode has to be between 0.1 and 0.2. It can't be any longer than that. We'll also say try to push camera. This thing is going to be the box is going to be somewhat in front of the let's go 500. Go for a smaller number like 4,000. That'll make it go faster on the thing, but get rid of it faster as well. Alright, we go rocket. Now, what do I do? Ah! Yeah, what is this? Final push rocket. No need for rocket mech X anymore. did forget something though. Not this. It is that times the health factor. And then once we're done, and then we will plug in our health and our max health. And then we grab these two and move them out of here.
Uh-oh.
Ah. Drug it. Put that here. Don't do that and behind an if statement. That's right before we check. Now we'll check.
Uh-oh.
I know push rocket 3 seconds too long for you to live after you take your final hit. size. Okay, so that's too much. We're gonna go with 5. The biggest, smallest it can be is 16. Highest it can be is 20. Eh, 4. 12. And 18. Then we... You know what? Ah. Forward loop. Nine. Get a 5. Back to you! Alright. Then we gotta come up with a formula. So we'll actually make a function get desired location. And its input is a integer. Alright, so we'll say 0 or 4 0 4 8. I'll go. If this is mod 4, then it will be an X and a Y. I'm sorry, a Y and B. It will be a Y and we see if mod 4 equals and Y will be, sorry, Z will be a 500, and then if that's false, 1 3 5. Okay. Otherwise, if it's mod 2, one equals 0. Otherwise, C minus 500. And then all 3 of you are going to go in here. Let's see. Oh wait, it's a 0 to 8 scale. So then the Y equals index times something. So we can go minus, sorry, plus. So it's gonna be minus 900 times this, which is going to be the integer from 0 to 8. 8 is going to be positive 180. Sorry, 180. That number divided by. Alright, so sorry. A little scatterbrained right now. So I want to no collision that. And then, event graph, we're also going to say, mesh that their play animation. The options are Flytle and Fly Spit. Alright. Fly Spit. 0.5. 0.5. 2.5. This one it is looping, and it'll be Flytle. There you go. This will be delay after 1.12. Fight Malice. Animation blueprint and set it to Wrathface 2010. ABP_Wrath. And it's a state machine. So we'll go here to the content drawer, get rid of tree and models. Find Malice. Then we will find Fly Spit and Fly Idle. You are a loop. Fly Idle. Terrible. Yeah. Not Boolean. We plug in the new variable animation blueprint ABP_Wrath. And then we compile, will also compile your thing. There, that should be from the mouth. Now we just raise you to the right spot. Then we go over to you, and then we will. And now we go to the mesh, and in this sense. Cast to ABP, my wrath, and then now we can grab you, and then we will say promote to variable, and then now we can say it and set new variable. Set it to true, and then we will set, and it's not the mesh we're after, set new variable to false. It handles all the smoothing for us, so that we don't have to handle it ourselves. That is very handy. Wrathface 2, and then we will plug you into there. Now we just got to. Oh, Wrathface 2. I set this up wrong. The delay is supposed to go after the new variable is set. Let's try again. Wrathface 2. Oh, I forgot what I did. It was 0.5 and then I've been doing this and down and back again. Rat Fireball, you need to be a 2. Okay, then we try the final push again. I know you never give in. I'm gonna come down and I'll knock you down. I know you wanna survive, but I've down. This race is right in front of me. You think you can beat me, but now you'll see. I don't really want to let you live, baby. I'll knock you down, trust me, and I'll break your face. Ba-na-na-na. Hot and fast, bona fide killer. Oh, no crying, it's over. Alright, we'll do this. If health is greater than 0, do that. Otherwise, survive, come on, go down. This race is right in front of me. You think you can beat me, but now you'll see. I don't really want to let you live, baby. Round, I'll knock you down, touch me and I'll break your face. Be an integer. Starts at 0. Blueprint class, and it will be an actor, and it will say something along the lines of PP underscore credits. Huh? Okay. If you have less than 0, less than or equal, I should say. So it's 3, then it goes down to 2. So you spend most of the fight at 2, and then 1, and then you hit him one more time. If this is the case, then we will. This race is right in front of me. You think you can be? Get out to a class, and it will be. PP underscore final push rocket. So it shouldn't be that, it should be something like other check, I don't know. Other check equals health is less than or equal to 0. Instead of that, we'll just say if other check. Set movement. Set max fly. Right. Set max fly speed. 2. And that and promotes a variable RMX. And then we will say if this equals RMX. I don't know why you decided to break this connection right here when I didn't tell you to do that. This is the case. But we will need this. Okay, play, get the firework particle, do the mesh thing. Check. Check. Max flight speed. Get character movement. Not movement base, just get max flight speed. And next we will say R. Index, and it is an intruder that's intercettable and expose on spawn. Then we will go to Wrath Phase 2. Spawn after act from last score credits. And if we get actor location with the struct pin, do this, and then we should also do the same desired location. And then it is a vector and expose on spawn compile. Or a fireball, then we will do the exact same thing as that one event tick and plug it in. This is the delta time. Save and then go to Wrath Phase 2 and then we will refresh this node. Should be get actor location with the struct pin and then split this struct pin as well. Then the index is the item and then plus increment and the item. Drag this over to the same thing over there. Okay, and the final push. We don't need most of this, I don't believe anymore. Final push camera. Craft viable. Let's go ahead and do this part right here. Credits and then we will add a box collision. Then we will begin overlap. The other actor has the tag easy fire. Then we will destroy ourselves. Go to I don't know. A minute. Next we need to design the rest of this. Alright, we need official renders of all of the enemies in the game. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. By 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 63, 64, 5, 6, 7. So about 67. Minus a couple. No. Plus a couple, probably. 67. 68, 69. 70, 71. 72. 71. 70. 71. 72. 73. 72. 70. Alright, so let's just say... Alright, so we need the render of the anglerfish first. Wonder. I use fish base. And looping, plunder textures and the fine fish base. I feel cheap. Alright. At a new stereo. And then we'll go grab this one. The sun. And then the blue. Whoa. Why did you do that? That won't help me, will it? Where do I go to find bulb? There we go, bulb. What color are you? Alright, well the emissive color comes from the base color. The diffuse color should be the 293103. 293103. 293103. Like 293103. And then one for blue. Dating. And this, and then we go to the emission and set it as 1. You can't paste the hex code into there and go to render. You're not in cycles. Shift A and then add a sun rotate it like this and then go film transparent. Shift 512 by 512, and then we will go side of this. And now we got one. Oh, oh. Oh, and then grab this. Now strike a dynamic pose. Oh. And then file and then render as one. And then we go to cut some Mogiri animations and accept it. We will call it Angular Render. Render the animation, and then that should be good. Go and find the Katamogiri animations. The Angler, Barbara, and Base Rocket. No, we don't need that, I don't think. See him render. Go into the final push and the next. Go create a new folder. Random objects, we call this new folder PNG renders. Go inside and drag these in. Do the thing. Then next go to hologram horse render. Should be rocket just of that, and then hey, is that all done? We render that. Okay. Did I miss any renders that I already have made? Okay, let us file and then open. Don't save army man. Open and then we will go and find the thing where you are doing something. Okay, never mind. Let's make it, I guess. Sophia. And then go here to the material and then go find green. Okay, never mind. Models, army man. What's the hex color? Okay, go in here and then give it what we want. Go inside the camera in 540 by 540. And our road city, go here. shadows. Strength needs to be a lot more. Alright, question. What happens if I grab you and I shift D and delete? She's What's that? Choosing one. Well, delete. Allow G minus one. Metallic material there at all. Camera. 540 by 540. Got to Mogiri animations, except Army Man. And then transparency. Film transparent, render the animation. Go into Unreal and then close these two materials here. Then go into random objects and then the PNG renders. Army Man. Then go back to models. Barbara, we already got Beyblade launcher. Open. Don't save. Waiting and then go and delete this and you can open up the Blender textures, Beyblade launcher, then go into the layout view. Okay, with the camera, go inside and then 540, 540, and then back up, going over here, and then, actually wait, the interesting part's on the other side. Shift A, camera, and back up, and do that again. Okay, and then go over to Katamogiri animation. Spiky ball launcher. And it can be from frame 1 to frame 1. Go over to film. And then change transparent. Nope. Maybe it's this one. Wait, maybe I have to be in render view. And go back to Eevee, film and then transparent and then shift A at a bright sun. And then we will render the animation. Go over here, Rockman render. Spiky ball launcher, ball launcher, ball launcher, and then we can close this one out here. File and open, don't save, go over to Unreal, and then go back to the models, and then the Play Beetle, Play Beetle, Play Beetle. Play Beetle. And then we we can delete this. Oh, into the camera. Armature, and then find this picture right here. There we go. Now we can render without issue, but I don't wanna do that. That'd be late render. Render the animation. Render the animation. And is it transparent? I don't think it is. Go to film and activate transparency. Render the animation. Now we can try again. And then we close this out. Hey! Random objects. And then go over here to find delayed render 002. File and then open. Don't save it and then go to Barbara Drift Day. The camera and then go into the camera. Go back out here, then we select this at 540 and 540, then go back and pull out. Sounded bad. Turn off dress and then turn on Musketeer. And we can go to Custom Geary Animation and then accept and go. Barbara Musketeer. And then Steel Ball Run, Steel Ball Run. And then next we go over to here, make sure that we're in UV. Then we add a sun, and it will go 45 degrees in your favor. Turn off the names, and then we can do that film and then go transparent. Next up, I would like to add the sword and shed a pen. Go to Barbara Sword. Radier object and then cubate. Wait for a second and then go into here. Rotate it by -90. Shrink it down to appropriate size. That is not an appropriate size. Shrink it down a bit. Alright. Okay. Material. White glass and metal. That can be like metal. Metallic. Don't do that. And then go back over here. Hair color. Can I just set it as that hair color? Then I go back over to here. Oh, do you have shaky on? Yep, you do. File that. No, sorry, render the animation, but I gotta set it as 53 53, and then render the anime. Nope. Okay, let's... let's go dress. Unhide. Chin, then grab the dress. You know what, let's just delete all three of them. Render the animation. Close, and then we've got Barbara Musketeer. And now we can undelete those three. And now we must find the spot where the spy works best. We can delete this thing here. Is there anything else? 168 and 168. Camera. RZ. Kata koto wa amaide mada na ajanai 173 173 Sarelu Barabantate Kawashi Tegu okay alright Mata National Survival Days Stone Ocean Let the bodies count every day Ozzy, Tashiga, Atashira, Alu, Damani. Break out the Tamewo. Jainai, break out the Domani. Wasted hot tax on let them all. Ken Kaiwa Hokan, Imaiwa Mokan. Bye. Render the animation. Again, not what I need to be happening. Delete all of these things. And then we control Z, 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 Z. Go into here, and then now we have Barbara Musketeer and Spy. Alright, next we need to go find the next one before we can create a render. Blastberry, let us go and find open reasons. Open, don't save. Blastberry. You let us go to pose mode, rotate like this, and then position him kinda like this. Page down and then Katsumogiri animations blast a bear. Alright, and then now we go back over to this and then go to. We are in cycles, aren't we? We go find film and then hit transparency. Then we go back into this thing and the plot sun. Rotate the sun so that it can focus on Blastberry render animation. Okay, one thing I would like to do, pose mode. Can I do this? Hey, hi, render animation. Now we got. Alright, next up is Bouncy Ball. Random object. PNG renders. PNG renders. Go and find Bouncy Ball. Open. Don't say. Bouncy Ball. Shift a camera, go inside here, 540. Then 540. Go back out and do this again. Change it. Mode right here. Find the light and then do the spot. Nope. Projects that render the animation. Close, close, close. Before you do more than one bouncy ball, go into here and then we go to the Rockin' Man X models. Wall gun. Rick Walker. Rick Walker and Bunyip. File. Open. Don't save. Rick. Not helping my case here. Thirty-four shifting. back up. 540. Parent. And go to the light and find the sun. Wash away the anger. Here I stand beneath the momentary rain. The droplets falling gently down on the terrain. Wash away the sorrow of the states of time. It's so beautiful. Bye. Sinking deeper, and it will fall like a flood of rain when the darkness came. Fun, yeah. Fall through the darkest day and the final hour. Just until it, until it finds my dream and disappear. 540, 540, wash away the anger. Here I stand beneath the momentary rain, the droplets falling gently down on the terrain. Bunyip of time. Slowly dry inside. Sinking deeper. And it will fall like a foot of rain for another day. And it will never stop until the end is near. It will fall through the darkest shade and the final hour. And it will never rest until the clouds are clear, until it finds my dream and disappear. Wash away the anger. Here I stand beneath the momentary rain, the droplets falling gently down on the terrain. Wash away the sorrow, all the states of time. Read the story, try inside. File open and don't save. See. Make that plan for another dream, and it will never stop until the end is near. Oh, to the darkest day and the final hour. Never rest until the clouds of dear, until it finds my dream. Splendor, documentary animations, and then sleep. Camera, go inside of the camera, back up here. at him. I think the camera just needs to out to the side of it and then... Render the animation. Immoral temptation takes over my mind. The life of mayhem. It is funny how nobody has acknowledged the fact that I am shirtless in my newest video. I am reclaimer of my name. Born in flames, I have been blessed. My family crest. Go find models of McCann, of Phobia and the Spider. Oh, I forgot about Cyrene and Cyran. So it's just a black, a light metal, and a red. Okay. In that case, you're probably not the model I used, are you? Maybe you are, I don't know. No, you would have to be it, so maybe I just... Oh. Fading. Black. And then... metallic. With a lighter color. And then you are red. I am reclaimer of my name. Born in flames, I have been blessed. Mission. Live one and you have a red glow. Alright, which frame should I use? Probably the frame they're gonna recognize it most from T-pose. Shift A and go into the camera. Pull it out from behind you. Into the Katamogiri animations. B0-S5. 540. 540. Behold the truth. Fire burns. Secret love of fire. 35. Render animation. Close it. Go back. Find B0. Which one do I like more? Interchangeable. What if I went to the content browser? Put you into the model, then you into the thing that I'm uploading. Random objects PNG renders. I have added me in the bunyip. Bury the light deep within. Camera capture farmers. I don't really feel like adding them. And go ahead and hit save in case of a crash. Alright, we'll go ahead and add the capture music. File open. Don't save and change it to fairy. Sorry. Stopper. Hey, camera, go in here and then go find my Katamogiri animations fairies. 540 and 540. Parent. And then delete the low-res version of it, and then go to here and undo the thing that I've just done, and then we can add a light of the sun. So what? Waiting a bit and this I go to T. Fire dress ignition. Let's say like 5 or something. There we go. There we go. 22, 22. Then we delete the cube and then would be good to render the animation. At very end, captured farmers. That's right. That's whom we're doing. Open. Don't save. Go find. Painting ghost. I'm and camera and do the very thing we've always been doing for 540. Go to the Gutamo Gary Animations Render DD Film Transparency. Go over here. Do, 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 do. And then we go into here, and then now we've got a better render of him, and then we can go into right here. Light sun go rotate like such. Check it out, render animation. Forgot to set a destination tonight. Bulgarian animations and get it gets it. No. British William Ghost. Close the content drawer and then add Scottish William Ghost to our scene. Close this and then file open, don't save. Is it? It's just girl, isn't it? Okay, and then add a camera on one side. Go ahead and change this up. Okay, film. And then 540, 540, 540. And goes to Kata Bulgari Animations. Kudzu. Kudzu. Day in the play fun. Render the animation. TV. Film. Armageddon animation. Bad guy. I want for so bad. Get a good hand. If daylight and sun. Friend. Charging Xavier. I will come and up the head. Oh, that camera, I guess. I'm going to transparent. Go to 540. Why does he have all this light? Did I forget to delete the initial light in the camera? Oh no! No. Sokogala. Midsummer is strong, has such a sea. Tokyo Koe. Shinikuno. Oh, that's what it was. It's like I'm forgetting something. I remember now. I was thinking I need to stop listening to music and stop singing along to this and just start listening to Lord of the Rings. I know. Shift day. And then subject shift day. When do you and then here easy with the film as transparent and then episodes 540 and then do the same thing here. That's my scary animations, dino robots. And then go into this thing, oh I've already done that. Now, here now, 29. Animation. Watch me go in overdrive. Render the animation. Okay, then we can add it to the scene. And of course by the scene, I don't mean the scene at all. In fact, I just mean this part, the file folder. So tap my heart and go to here. Go and select the content drawer and make a strong file and save. Check Lexi. Overdrive. Yeah. Watch me go in overdrive. Just gonna keep saying the same thing over and over if I do not have something else going through my mind. At any given point, let us just use 20 and 20.
Yes, said Pippin. I know what you mean. There might be all the difference between an old cow sitting and thoughtfully chewing, and a bull charging, and the change might come suddenly. I wonder if Treebeard will rouse them. I am sure he means to try. But they don't like being roused. Treebeard got roused himself last night, and then bottled it up again. The hobbits turned back. The voices of the Ents were still rising and falling in their conclave. The sun had now risen high enough to look over the high hedge. It gleamed on the tops of the birches and lit the northward side of the dingle with a cool yellow light. There they saw a little glittering fountain. They walked along the rim of the great bowl at the feet of the evergreens. It was pleasant to feel cool grass about their toes again, and not to be in a hurry, and then they climbed down to the gushing water. They drank a little, a clean, cold, sharp draught, and sat down on a mossy stone, watching the patches of sun on the grass and the shadows of the sailing clouds passing over the floor of the dingle. The murmur of the Ents went on. It seemed a very strange and remote place, outside their world, and far from everything that had ever happened to them. A great longing came over them for the faces and voices of their companions, especially for Frodo and Sam, and for Strider. At last there came a pause in the Ent voices, and looking up they saw Treebeard coming towards them, with another Ent at his side. Here I am again, said Treebeard. Are you getting weary, or feeling impatient? Well, I am afraid that you must not get impatient yet. We have finished the first stage now, but I have still got to explain things again to those that live a long way off, far from Isengard, and those that I could not get round to before the moot, and after that we shall have to decide what to do. However, deciding what to do does not take Ents so long as going over all the facts and events that they have to make up their minds about. Still, it is no use denying, we shall be here a long time yet, a couple of days very likely. So I have brought you a companion. He has an Ent house nearby. Bregalat is his elvish name. He says he has already made up his mind and does not need to remain at the moot. He is the nearest thing among us to a hasty Ent. You ought to get on together. Goodbye. Treebeard turned and left them. Bregalad stood for some time surveying the hobbits solemnly, and they looked at him, wondering when he would show any signs of hastiness. He was tall, and seemed to be one of the younger Ents. He had smooth shining skin on his arms and legs, his lips were ruddy, and his hair was grey-green. He could bend and sway like a slender tree in the wind. At last he spoke, and his voice though resonant was higher and clearer than Treebeard's. My friends, let us go for a walk, he said. I am Bregalad, that is Quickbeam in your language. But it is only a nickname, of course. They have called me that ever since I said yes to an elder Ent before he had finished his question. Also I drink quickly, and go out while some are still wetting their beards. Come with me. He reached down two shapely arms and gave a long-fingered hand to each of the hobbits. All that day they walked about in the woods with him, singing, and laughing, for Quickbeam often laughed. He laughed if the sun came out from behind a cloud, he laughed if they came upon a stream or spring, then he stooped and splashed his feet and head with water, he laughed sometimes at some sound or whisper in the trees. Whenever he saw a rowan tree he halted a while with his arms stretched out, and sang, and swayed as he sang. At nightfall he brought them to his Ent house, nothing more than a mossy stone set upon turfs under a green bank. Rowan trees grew in a circle about it, and there was water, as in all Ent houses, a spring bubbling out from the bank. They talked for a while as darkness fell on the forest. Not far away the voices of the Entmoot could be heard still going on, but now they seemed deeper and less leisurely, and every now and again one great voice would rise in a high and quickening music, while all the others died away. But beside them Bregalad spoke gently in their own tongue, almost whispering, and they learned that he belonged to Skinbark's people, and the country where they had lived had been ravaged. That seemed to the hobbits quite enough to explain his hastiness, at least in the matter of orcs. There were rowan trees in my home, said Bregalad, softly and sadly, rowan trees that took root when I was an Enting, many years ago in the quiet of the world. The oldest were planted by the Ents to try and please the Entwives, but they looked at them and smiled and said that they knew where whiter blossom and richer fruit were growing. Yet there are no trees of all that race, the people of the rose, that are so beautiful to me. And these trees grew and grew, till the shadow of each was like a green hall, and their red berries in the autumn were a burden, and a beauty and a wonder. Birds used to flock there. I like birds, even when they chatter, and the rowan has enough and to spare. But the birds became unfriendly and greedy and tore at the trees, and threw the fruit down and did not eat it. Then orcs came with axes and cut down my trees. I came and called them by their long names, but they did not quiver, they did not hear or answer, they lay dead. O Orofarn, Lasemista, Carnamiri. O rowan fair, upon your hair how white the blossom lay. O rowan mine, I saw you shine upon a summer's day. Your rind so bright, your leaves so light, your voice so cool and soft. Upon your head how golden red the crown you bore aloft. O rowan dead, upon your head your hair is dry and grey. Your crown is spilled, your voice is stilled forever and a day. O Orofarn, la semista, Carnamiri. The hobbits fell asleep to the sound of the soft singing of Bregalad, that seemed to lament in many tongues the fall of trees that he had loved. The next day they spent also in his company, but they did not go far from his house. Most of the time they sat silent under the shelter of the bank, for the wind was colder, and the clouds closer and greyer, there was little sunshine, and in the distance the voices of the Ents at the moot still rose and fell, sometimes loud and strong, sometimes low and sad, sometimes quickening, sometimes slow and solemn as a dirge. A second night came and still the Ents held conclave under hurrying clouds and fitful stars. The third day broke, bleak and windy. At sunrise the Ents' voices rose to a great clamour and then died down again. As the morning wore on the wind fell and the air grew heavy with expectancy. The hobbits could see that Bregalad was now listening intently, although to them, down in the dell of his Ent house, the sound of the moot was faint. The afternoon came, and the sun, going west towards the mountains, sent out long yellow beams between the cracks and fissures of the clouds. Suddenly they were aware that everything was very quiet, the whole forest stood in listening silence. Of course, the Ent voices had stopped. What did that mean? Bregalad was standing up erect and tense, looking back northwards towards Durnedingle. Then with a crash came a great ringing shout, Ra-hum-ra! The trees quivered and bent as if a gust had struck them. There was another pause, and then a marching music began like solemn drums, and above the rolling beats and booms there welled voices singing high and strong. We come with roll of drum, ta-runda-runda-runda-ram. The Ents were coming, ever nearer and louder rose their song. We come with horn and drum, ta-runa-runa-runa-ram. Bregalad picked up the hobbits and strode from his house. Before long they saw the marching line approaching, the Ents were swinging along with great strides down the slope towards them. Treebeard was at their head, and some 50 followers were behind him, 2 abreast, keeping step with their feet and beating time with their hands upon their flanks. As they drew near the flash and flicker of their eyes could be seen. Hum. Here we come with a boom, here we come at last, called Treebeard when he caught sight of Bregalad and the hobbits. Come, join the moot. We are off. We are off to Isengard. To Isengard, the Ents cried in many voices. To Isengard. To Isengard. Though Isengard be ringed and barred with doors of stone. Though Isengard be strong and hard, as cold as stone and bare as bone. We go to war, to hew the stone and break the door. For bowl and bough are burning now, the furnace roars, we go to war. To land of gloom with tramp of doom, with roll of drum, we come. To Isengard with doom we come. With doom we come, with doom we come. So they sang as they marched southwards. Bregalad, his eyes shining, swung into the line beside Treebeard. The old Ent now took the hobbits back, and set them on his shoulders again, and so they rode proudly at the head of the singing company with beating hearts and heads held high. Though they had expected something to happen eventually, they were amazed at the change that had come over the Ents. It seemed now as sudden as the bursting of a flood that had long been held back by a dike. The Ents made up their minds rather quickly, after all, didn't they? Pippin ventured to say after some time, when for a moment the singing paused, and only the beating of hands and feet was heard. Quickly, said Treebeard. Yes, indeed. Quicker than I expected. Indeed I have not seen them roused like this for many an age. We Ents do not like being roused, and we never are roused unless it is clear to us that our trees and our lives are in great danger. That has not happened in this forest since the wars of Sauron and the Men of the Sea. It is the orc work, the wanton hewing, rarum, without even the bad excuse of feeding the fires, that has so angered us, and the treachery of a neighbor, who should have helped us. Wizards ought to know better, they do know better. There is no curse in Elvish, Entish, or the tongues of men bad enough for such treachery. Down with Saruman! Will you really break the doors of Isengard? Asked Merry. Well, we could, you know. You do not know, perhaps, how strong we are. Maybe you have heard of trolls? They are mighty strong. But trolls are only counterfeits, made by the enemy in the great darkness, in mockery of Ents, as orcs were of elves. We are stronger than trolls. We are made of the bones of the earth. We can split stone like the roots of trees, only quicker, far quicker, if our minds are roused. If we are not hewn down, or destroyed by fire or blast of sorcery, we could split Isengard into splinters and crack its walls into rubble. But Saruman will try to stop you. Won't he? Yes, that is so. I have not forgotten it. Indeed, I have thought long about it. But, you see, many of the Ents are younger than I am, by many lives of trees. They are all roused now, and their mind is all on one thing, breaking Isengard. But they will start thinking again before long. They will cool down a little, when we take our evening drink. What a thirst we shall have! But let them march now and sing. We have a long way to go, and there is time ahead for thought. It is something to have started. Treebeard marched on, singing with the others for a while. But after a time his voice died to a murmur and fell silent again. Pippin could see that his old brow was wrinkled and knotted. At last he looked up, and Pippin could see a sad look in his eyes, sad but not unhappy. There was a light in them, as if the green flame had sunk deeper into the dark wells of his thought. Of course, it is likely enough, my friends, he said slowly, likely enough that we are going to our doom, the last march of the Ents. But if we stayed at home and did nothing, doom would find us anyway, sooner or later. That thought has long been growing in our hearts, and that is why we are marching now. It was not a hasty resolve. Now at least the last march of the Ents may be worth a song. He sighed, we may help the other peoples before we pass away. Still, I should have liked to see the songs come true about the Entwives. I should dearly have liked to see Fimbrethel again. But there, my friends, songs like trees bear fruit only in their own time and their own way, and sometimes they are withered untimely. The Ents went striding on at a great pace. They had descended into a long fold of the land that fell away southward. Now they began to climb up, and up, onto the high western ridge. The woods fell away and they came to scattered groups of birch, and then to bare slopes where only a few gaunt pine trees grew. The sun sank behind the dark hillback in front. Grey dusk fell. Pippin looked behind. The number of the Ents had grown, or what was happening. Where the dim bare slopes that they had crossed should lie, he thought he saw groves of trees. But they were moving. Could it be that the trees of Fangorn were awake, and the forest was rising, marching over the hills to war? He rubbed his eyes wondering if sleep and shadow had deceived him, but the great grey shapes moved steadily onward. There was a noise like wind in many branches. The Ents were drawing near the crest of the ridge now, and all song had ceased. Night fell, and there was silence. Nothing was to be heard save a faint quiver of the earth beneath the feet of the Ents, and a rustle, the shade of a whisper as of many drifting leaves. At last they stood upon the summit, and looked down into a dark pit, the great cleft at the end of the mountains, Nan Curunir, the valley of Saruman. Night lies over Isengard, said Treebeard. Chapter 5. The White Rider. My very bones are chilled, said Gimli, flapping his arms and stamping his feet. Day had come at last. At dawn the companions had made such breakfast as they could. Now in the growing light they were getting ready to search the ground again for signs of the hobbits. And do not forget that old man, said Gimli. I should be happier if I could see the print of a boot. Why would that make you happy, said Legolas. Because an old man with feet that leave marks might be no more than he seemed, answered the dwarf. Maybe, said the elf, but a heavy boot might leave no print here, the grass is deep and springy. That would not baffle a ranger, said Gimli. A bent blade is enough for Aragorn to read. But I do not expect him to find any traces. It was an evil phantom of Saruman that we saw last night. I am sure of it, even under the light of morning. His eyes are looking out on us from Fangorn even now, maybe. It is likely enough, said Aragorn, yet I am not sure. I am thinking of the horses. You said last night, Gimli, that they were scared away. But I did not think so. Did you hear them? Legolas? Did they sound to you like beasts in terror? No, said Legolas. I heard them clearly. But for the darkness and our own fear I should have guessed that they were beasts wild with some sudden gladness. They spoke as horses will when they meet a friend that they have long missed. So I thought, said Aragorn, but I cannot read the riddle, unless they return. Come. The light is growing fast. Let us look first and guess later. We should begin here, near to our own camping ground, searching carefully all about, and working up the slope towards the forest. To find the hobbits is our errand, whatever we may think of our visitor in the night. If they escaped by some chance, then they must have hidden in the trees, or they would have been seen. If we find nothing between here and the eaves of the wood, then we will make a last search upon the battlefield and among the ashes. But there is little hope there, the horsemen of Rohan did their work too well. For some time the companions crawled and groped upon the ground. The tree stood mournfully above them, its dry leaves now hanging limp.
In Blender, I have a character who has an outline. That outline is made up of a slightly larger mesh with normals facing in. I need to render this character as a PNG. How do I get Blender to account for the normals of the polygons when rendering? Like the outline mesh, go to material properties, settings, back quality, scrolling is off. There we go.
For some time the companions crawled and groped upon the ground. The tree stood mournfully above them, its dry leaves now hanging limp, and rattling in the chill easterly wind. Aragorn moved slowly away. He came to the ashes of the watchfire near the river bank, and then began to retrace the ground back towards the knoll where the battle had been fought. Suddenly he stooped and bent low with his face almost in the grass. Then he called to the others. They came running up. "Here at last we find news," said Aragorn. He lifted up a broken leaf for them to see, a large pale leaf of golden hue, now fading and turning brown. "Here is a Malorn leaf of Lorien, and there are small crumbs on it, and a few more crumbs in the grass. And see, there are some pieces of cut cord lying nearby. And here is the knife that cut them," said Gimli. He stooped and drew out of a tussock, into which some heavy foot had trampled it, a short jagged blade. The haft from which it had been snapped was beside it. "It was an orc weapon," he said, holding it gingerly, and looking with disgust at the carved handle. It had been shaped like a hideous head with squinting eyes and leering mouth. "Well, here is the strangest riddle that we have yet found," exclaimed Legolas. "A bound prisoner escapes both from the orcs and from the surrounding horsemen. He then stops, while still in the open, and cuts his bonds with an orc knife. But how and why? For if his legs were tied, how did he walk? And if his arms were tied, how did he use the knife? And if neither were tied, why did he cut the cords at all? Being pleased with his skill, he then sat down and quietly ate some whey bread. That at least is enough to show that he was a hobbit, without the Malorn leaf. After that, I suppose, he turned his arms into wings and flew away singing into the trees. It should be easy to find him, we only need wings ourselves. There was sorcery here right enough, said Gimli. What was that old man doing? What have you to say, Aragorn, to the reading of Legolas? Can you better it? Maybe, I could, said Aragorn, smiling. There are some other signs near at hand that you have not considered. I agree that the prisoner was a hobbit and must have had either legs or hands free, before he came here. I guess that it was hands, because the riddle then becomes easier, and also because, as I read the marks, he was carried to this point by an orc. Blood was spilled there, a few paces away, orc blood. There are deep prints of hoofs all about this spot, and signs that a heavy thing was dragged away. The orc was slain by horsemen, and later his body was hauled to the fire. But the hobbit was not seen, he was not in the open, for it was night and he still had his elven cloak. He was exhausted and hungry, and it is not to be wondered at that, when he had cut his bonds with the knife of his fallen enemy, he rested and ate a little before he crept away. But it is a comfort to know that he had some lembas in his pocket, even though he ran away without gear or pack, that, perhaps, is like a hobbit. I say he, though I hope and guess that both Merry and Pippin were here together. There is, however, nothing to show that for certain. And how do you suppose that either of our friends came to have a hand free, asked Gimli. I do not know how it happened, answered Aragorn. Nor do I know why an orc was carrying them away. Not to help them to escape, we may be sure. Nay, rather I think that I now begin to understand a matter that has puzzled me from the beginning, why when Boromir had fallen were the orcs content with the capture of Merry and Pippin. They did not seek out the rest of us, nor attack our camp, but instead they went with all speed towards Isengard. Did they suppose they had captured the ring-bearer and his faithful comrade? I think not. Their masters would not dare to give such plain orders to orcs, even if they knew so much themselves, they would not speak openly to them of the ring, they are not trusty servants. But I think the orcs had been commanded to capture hobbits, alive, at all costs. An attempt was made to slip out with the precious prisoners before the battle. Treachery perhaps, likely enough with such folk, some large and bold orc may have been trying to escape with the prize alone, for his own ends. There, that is my tale. Others might be devised. But on this we may count in any case, one at least of our friends escaped. It is our task to find him and help him before we return to Rohan. We must not be daunted by Fangorn, since need drove him into that dark place. I do not know which daunts me more, Fangorn, or the thought of the long road through Rohan on foot, said Gimli. Then let us go to the forest, said Aragorn. It was not long before Aragorn found fresh signs. At one point, near the bank of the Entwash, he came upon footprints, hobbit prints, but too light for much to be made of them. Then again beneath the bole of a great tree on the very edge of the wood more prints were discovered. The earth was bare and dry, and did not reveal much. One hobbit at least stood here for a while and looked back, and then he turned away into the forest, said Aragorn. Then we must go in, too, said Gimli. But I do not like the look of this Fangorn, and we were warned against it. I wish the chase had led anywhere else. I do not think the wood feels evil, whatever tales may say, said Legolas. He stood under the eaves of the forest, stooping forward, as if he were listening, and peering with wide eyes into the shadows. No, it is not evil, or what evil is in it is far away. I catch only the faintest echoes of dark places where the hearts of the trees are black. There is no malice near us, but there is watchfulness, and anger. Well, it has no cause to be angry with me, said Gimli. I have done it no harm. That is just as well, said Legolas. But nonetheless it has suffered harm. There is something happening inside, or going to happen? Do you not feel the tenseness? It takes my breath. I feel the air is stuffy, said the dwarf. This wood is lighter than Mirkwood, but it is musty and shabby. It is old, very old, said the elf. So old that almost I feel young again, as I have not felt since I journeyed with you children. It is old and full of memory. I could have been happy here, if I had come in days of peace. I dare say you could, snorted Gimli. You are a wood elf, anyway, though elves of any kind are strange folk. Yet you comfort me. Where you go, I will go. But keep your bow ready to hand, and I will keep my axe loose in my belt. Not for use on trees, he added hastily, looking up at the tree under which they stood. I do not wish to meet that old man at unawares without an argument ready to hand, that is all. Let us go. With that the three hunters plunged into the forest of Fangorn. Legolas and Gimli left the tracking to Aragorn. There was little for him to see. The floor of the forest was dry and covered with a drift of leaves, but guessing that the fugitives would stay near the water, he returned often to the banks of the stream. So it was that he came upon the place where Merry and Pippin had drunk and bathed their feet. There plain for all to see were the footprints of two hobbits, one somewhat smaller than the other. This is good tidings, said Aragorn. Yet the marks are 2 days old and it seems that at this point the hobbits left the waterside. Then what shall we do now, said Gimli. We cannot pursue them through the whole fastness of Fangorn. We have come ill-supplied. If we do not find them soon, we shall be of no use to them, except to sit down beside them and show our friendship by starving together. If that is indeed all we can do, then we must do that, said Aragorn. Let us go on. They came at length to the steep abrupt end of Treebeard's Hill and looked up at the rock wall with its rough steps leading to the high shelf. Gleams of sun were striking through the hurrying clouds, and the forest now looked less grey and drear. Let us go up and look about us, said Legolas. I will feel my breath short. I should like to taste a freer air for a while. The companions climbed up. Aragorn came last, moving slowly. He was scanning the steps and ledges closely. I am almost sure that the hobbits have been up here, he said. But there are other marks, very strange marks, which I do not understand. I wonder if we can see anything from this ledge which will help us to guess which way they went next. He stood up and looked about, but he saw nothing that was of any use. The shelf faced southward and eastward, but only on the east was the view open. There he could see the heads of the trees descending in ranks towards the plain from which they had come. We have journeyed a long way round, said Legolas. We could have all come here safe together, if we had left the great river on the second or third day and struck west. Few can foresee whither their road will lead them, till they come to its end. But we did not wish to come to Fangorn, said Gimli. Yet here we are unnicely caught in the net, said Legolas. Look. Look at what, said Gimli. There in the trees. Where? I have not elf eyes. Hush. Speak more softly. Look, said Legolas pointing. Down in the wood, back in the way that we have just come. It is he. Cannot you see him, passing from tree to tree? I see now, hissed Gimli. Look, Aragorn. Did I not warn you? There is the old man. All in dirty grey rags, that is why I could not see him at first. Aragorn looked and beheld a bent figure moving slowly. It was not far away. It looked like an old beggar man, walking wearily, leaning on a rough staff. His head was bowed, and he did not look towards them. In other lands they would have greeted him with kind words, but now they stood silent, each feeling a strange expectancy. Something was approaching that held a hidden power or menace. Gimli gazed with wide eyes for a while, as step by step the figure drew nearer. Then suddenly, unable to contain himself longer, he burst out, Your bow, Legolas. Bend it. Get ready. It is Saruman. Do not let him speak, or put a spell upon us. Shoot first. Legolas took his bow and bent it, slowly and as if some other will resisted him. He held an arrow loosely in his hand but did not fit it to the string. Aragorn stood silent, his face was watchful and intent. Why are you waiting? What is the matter with you? Said Gimli in a hissing whisper. Legolas is right, said Aragorn quietly. We may not shoot an old man so, at unawares and unchallenged, whatever fear or doubt be on us. Watch and wait. At that moment the old man quickened his pace and came with surprising speed to the foot of the rock wall. Then suddenly he looked up, while they stood motionless looking down. There was no sound. They could not see his face, he was hooded, and above the hood he wore a wide-brimmed hat, so that all his features were overshadowed, except for the end of his nose and his grey beard. Yet it seemed to Aragorn that he caught the gleam of eyes keen and bright from within the shadow of the hooded brows. At last the old man broke the silence. Well met indeed, my friends, he said in a soft voice. I wish to speak to you. Will you come down or shall I come up? Without waiting for an answer he began to climb. Now, said Gimli. Stop him, Legolas. Did I not say that I wished to speak to you, said the old man. Put away that bow, Master Elf. The bow and arrow fell from Legolas' hands, and his arms hung loose at his sides. And you, Master Dwarf, pray take your hand from your axe haft, till I am up. You will not need such arguments. Gimli started and then stood still as stone, staring, while the old man sprang up the rough steps as nimbly as a goat. All weariness seemed to have left him. As he stepped up onto the shelf there was a gleam, too brief for certainty, a quick glint of white, as if some garment shrouded by the grey rags had been for an instant revealed. The intake of Gimli's breath could be heard as a loud hiss in the silence. Well met, I say again, said the old man, coming towards them. When he was a few feet away, he stood, stooping over his staff, with his head thrust forward, peering at them from under his hood. And what may you be doing in these parts? An elf, a man, and a dwarf. All clad in elvish fashion. No doubt there is a tale worth hearing behind it all. Such things are not often seen here. You speak as one that knows Fangorn well, said Aragorn. Is that so? Not well, said the old man, that would be the study of many lives. But I come here now and again. Might we know your name, and then hear what it is that you have to say to us, said Aragorn. The morning passes, and we have an errand that will not wait. As for what I wished to say, I have said it. What may you be doing, and what tale can you tell of yourselves? As for my name. He broke off, laughing long and softly. Aragorn felt a shudder run through him at the sound, a strange cold thrill, and yet it was not fear or terror that he felt, rather it was like the sudden bite of a keen air, or the slap of a cold rain that wakes an uneasy sleeper. My name, said the old man again. Have you not guessed it already? You have heard it before, I think. Yes, you have heard it before. But come now, what of your tale? The three companions stood silent and made no answer. There are some who would begin to doubt whether your errand is fit to tell, said the old man. Happily I know something of it. You are tracking the footsteps of two young hobbits, I believe. Yes, hobbits. Don't stare, as if you had never heard the strange name before. You have, and so have I. Well, they climbed up here the day before yesterday, and they met someone that they did not expect. Does that comfort you? And now you would like to know where they were taken? Well, maybe I can give you some news about that. But why are we standing? Your errand, you see, is no longer as urgent as you thought. Let us sit down and be more at ease. The old man turned away and went towards a heap of fallen stones and rock at the foot of the cliff behind. Immediately, as if a spell had been removed, the others relaxed and stirred. Gimli's hand went at once to his axe haft. Aragorn drew his sword. Legolas picked up his bow. The old man took no notice, but stooped and sat himself on a low flat stone. Then his grey cloak drew apart, and they saw, beyond doubt, that he was clothed beneath all in white. Saruman, cried Gimli, springing towards him with axe in hand. Speak. Tell us where you have hidden our friends. What have you done with them? Speak, or I will make a dint in your hat that even a wizard will find it hard to deal with. The old man was too quick for him. He sprang to his feet and leaped to the top of a large rock. There he stood, grown suddenly tall, towering above them. His hood and his grey rags were flung away. His white garments shone. He lifted up his staff, and Gimli's axe leaped from his grasp and fell ringing on the ground. The sword of Aragorn, stiff in his motionless hand, blazed with a sudden fire. Legolas gave a great shout and shot an arrow high into the air. It vanished in a flash of flame. Mithrandir, he cried. Mithrandir. Well met, I say to you again. Legolas, said the old man. They all gazed at him. His hair was white as snow in the sunshine, and gleaming white was his robe. The eyes under his deep brows were bright, piercing as the rays of the sun. Power was in his hand. Between wonder, joy, and fear they stood and found no words to say. At last Aragorn stirred. Gandalf, he said. Beyond all hope you returned to us in our need. What veil was over my sight? Gandalf. Gimli said nothing. Hut sank to his knees, shading his eyes. Gandalf, the old man repeated, as if recalling from old memory a long disused word. Yes, that was the name. I was Gandalf. He stepped down from the rock, and picking up his grey cloak wrapped it about him. It seemed as if the sun had been shining, but now was hid in cloud again. Yes, you may still call me Gandalf, he said, and the voice was the voice of their old friend and guide. Get up, my good Gimli. No blame to you, and no harm done to me. Indeed, my friends, none of you have any weapon that could hurt me. Be merry. We meet again. At the turn of the tide. The great storm is coming, but the tide has turned. He laid his hand on Gimli's head, and the dwarf looked up and laughed suddenly. Gandalf, he said. But you are all in white. Yes, I am white now, said Gandalf. Indeed I am Saruman, one might almost say, Saruman as he should have been.
Yes, I am white now.
Yes, I am white now, said Gandalf. Indeed I am Saruman, one might almost say, Saruman as he should have been. But come now, tell me of yourselves. I have passed through fire and deep water, since we parted. I have forgotten much that I thought I knew, and learned again much that I had forgotten. I can see many things far off, but many things that are close at hand I cannot see. Tell me of yourselves. What do you wish to know, said Aragorn. All that has happened since we parted on the bridge would be a long tale. Will you not first give us news of the hobbits? Did you find them, and are they safe? No, I did not find them, said Gandalf. There was a darkness over the valleys of the Emyn-Muil, and I did not know of their captivity, until the eagle told me. The eagle, said Legolas. I have seen an eagle high and far off, the last time was 3 days ago, above the Emyn-Muil. Yes, said Gandalf, that was Gwaihir the Wind Lord, who rescued me from Orthan. I sent him before me to watch the river and gather tidings. His sight is keen, but he cannot see all that passes under hill and tree. Some things he has seen, and others I have seen myself. The ring now has passed beyond my help, or the help of any of the company that set out from Rivendell. Very nearly it was revealed to the enemy, but it escaped. I had some part in that, for I sat in a high place, and I strove with the dark tower, and the shadow passed. Then I was weary, very weary, and I walked long in dark thought. Then you know about Frodo, said Gimli. How do things go with him? I cannot say. He was saved from a great peril, but many lie before him still. He resolved to go alone to Mordor, and he set out, that is all that I can say. Not alone, said Legolas. We think that Sam went with him. Did he, said Gandalf, and there was a gleam in his eye and a smile on his face. Did he indeed? It is news to me, yet it does not surprise me. Good. Very good. You lighten my heart. You must tell me more. Now sit by me and tell me the tale of your journey. The companions sat on the ground at his feet, and Aragorn took up the tale. For a long while Gandalf said nothing, and he asked no questions. His hands were spread upon his knees, and his eyes were closed. At last, when Aragorn spoke of the death of Boromir and of his last journey upon the great river, the old man sighed. "You have not said all that you know or guess, Aragorn my friend," he said quietly. "Poor Boromir. I could not see what happened to him. It was a sore trial for such a man, a warrior, and a lord of men. Galadriel told me that he was in peril. But he escaped in the end. I am glad. It was not in vain that the young hobbits came with us, if only for Boromir's sake. But that is not the only part they have to play. They were brought to Fangorn, and their coming was like the falling of small stones that starts an avalanche in the mountains. Even as we talk here, I hear the first rumblings. Saruman had best not be caught away from home when the dam bursts." "In one thing you have not changed, dear friend," said Aragorn, "you still speak in riddles." "What? In riddles?" said Gandalf. "No. For I was talking aloud to myself. A habit of the old, they choose the wisest person present to speak to, the long explanations needed by the young are wearying." He laughed, but the sound now seemed warm and kindly as a gleam of sunshine. "I am no longer young even in the reckoning of men of the ancient houses," said Aragorn. "Will you not open your mind more clearly to me?" "What then shall I say?" said Gandalf, and paused for a while and thought. "This in brief is how I see things at the moment, if you wish to have a piece of my mind as plain as possible. The enemy, of course, has long known that the ring is abroad, and that it is borne by a hobbit. He knows now the number of our company that set out from Rivendell, and the kind of each of us. But he does not yet perceive our purpose clearly. He supposes that we were all going to Minas Tirith, for that is what he would himself have done in our place. And according to his wisdom it would have been a heavy stroke against his power. Indeed he is in great fear, not knowing what mighty one may suddenly appear, wielding the ring, and assailing him with war, seeking to cast him down and take his place. That we should wish to cast him down and have no one in his place is not a thought that occurs to his mind. That we should try to destroy the ring itself has not yet entered into his darkest dream. In which no doubt you will see our good fortune and our hope. For imagining war he has let loose war, believing that he has no time to waste, for he that strikes the first blow, if he strikes it hard enough, may need to strike no more. So the forces that he has long been preparing he is now setting in motion, sooner than he intended. Wise fool! For if he had used all his power to guard Mordor, so that none could enter, and bent all his guild to the hunting of the ring, then indeed hope would have faded, neither ring nor bearer could long have eluded him. But now his eye gazes abroad rather than near at home, and mostly he looks towards Minas Tirith. Very soon now his strength will fall upon it like a storm. For already he knows that the messengers that he sent to waylay the company have failed again. They have not found the ring. Neither have they brought away any hobbits as hostages. Had they done even so much as that, it would have been a heavy blow to us, and it might have been fatal. But let us not darken our hearts by imagining the trial of their gentle loyalty in the Dark Tower. For the enemy has failed so far. Thanks to Saruman. "Then is not Saruman a traitor?" said Gimli. "Indeed yes," said Gandalf. "Doubly. And is not that strange? Nothing that we have endured of late has seemed so grievous as the treason of Isengard. Even reckoned as a lord and captain, Saruman has grown very strong. He threatens the men of Rohan and draws off their help from Minas Tirith, even as the main blow is approaching from the east. Yet a treacherous weapon is ever a danger to the hand. Saruman also had a mind to capture the ring, for himself, or at least to snare some hobbits for his evil purposes. So between them our enemies have contrived only to bring Merry and Pippin with marvelous speed, and in the nick of time, to Fangorn, where otherwise they would never have come at all. Also they have filled themselves with new doubts that disturb their plans. No tidings of the battle will come to Mordor, thanks to the horsemen of Rohan, but the Dark Lord knows that 2 hobbits were taken in the Emyn Muil and borne away towards Isengard against the will of his own servants. He now has Isengard to fear as well as Minas Tirith. If Minas Tirith falls, it will go ill with Saruman. It is a pity that our friends lie in between, said Gimli. If no land divided Isengard and Mordor, then they could fight while we watched and waited. The victor would emerge stronger than either, and free from doubt, said Gandalf. But Isengard cannot fight Mordor, unless Saruman first obtains the ring. That he will never do now. He does not yet know his peril. There is much that he does not know. He was so eager to lay his hands on his prey that he could not wait at home, and he came forth to meet and to spy on his messengers. But he came too late, for once, and the battle was over and beyond his help before he reached these parts. He did not remain here long. I look into his mind and I see his doubt. He has no woodcraft. He believes that the horsemen slew and burned all upon the field of battle, but he does not know whether the orcs were bringing any prisoners or not. And he does not know of the quarrel between his servants and the orcs of Mordor, nor does he know of the winged messenger. The winged messenger, cried Legolas. I shot at him with the bow of Galadriel above Sarngabur, and I felled him from the sky. He filled us all with fear. What new terror is this? One that you cannot slay with arrows, said Gandalf. You only slew his steed. It was a good deed, but the rider was soon horsed again. For he was a Nazgul, one of the 9, who ride now upon winged steeds. Soon their terror will overshadow the last armies of our friends, cutting off the sun. But they have not yet been allowed to cross the river, and Saruman does not know of this new shape in which the ringwraiths have been clad. His thought is ever on the ring. Was it present in the battle? Was it found? What if Theoden, Lord of the Mark, should come by it and learn of its power? That is the danger that he sees, and he has fled back to Isengard to double and treble his assault on Rohan. And all the time there is another danger, close at hand, which he does not see, busy with his fiery thoughts. He has forgotten Treebeard. Now you speak to yourself again, said Aragorn with a smile. Treebeard is not known to me. And I have guessed part of Saruman's double treachery, yet I do not see in what way the coming of 2 hobbits to Fangorn has served, save to give us a long and fruitless chase. Wait a minute, cried Gimli. There is another thing that I should like to know first. Was it you, Gandalf, or Saruman that we saw last night? You certainly did not see me, answered Gandalf, therefore I must guess that you saw Saruman. Evidently we look so much alike that your desire to make an incurable dent in my hat must be excused. Good, good, said Gimli. I am glad that it was not you. Gandalf laughed again. Yes, my good dwarf, he said, it is a comfort not to be mistaken at all points. Do I not know it only too well? But, of course, I never blamed you for your welcome of me. How could I do so, who have so often counseled my friends to suspect even their own hands when dealing with the enemy? Bless you, Gimli, son of Gloin. Maybe you will see us both together one day and judge between us. But the hobbits? Legolas broke in. We have come far to seek them, and you seem to know where they are. Where are they now? With Treebeard and the Ents, said Gandalf. The Ents, exclaimed Aragorn. Then there is truth in the old legends about the dwellers in the deep forests and the giant shepherds of the trees? Are there still Ents in the world? I thought they were only a memory of ancient days, if indeed they were ever more than a legend of Rohan. A legend of Rohan, cried Legolas. Nay, every elf in Wilderland has sung songs of the old Onodrim and their long sorrow. Yet even among us they are only a memory. If I were to meet one still walking in this world, then indeed I should feel young again. But Treebeard, that is only a rendering of Fangorn into the common speech, yet you seem to speak of a person. Who is this Treebeard? Ah! Now you are asking much, said Gandalf. The little that I know of his long slow story would make a tale for which we have no time now. Treebeard is Fangorn, the guardian of the forest. He is the oldest of the Ents, the oldest living thing that still walks beneath the sun upon this Middle-earth. I hope indeed, Legolas, that you may yet meet him. Merry and Pippin have been fortunate, they met him here, even where we sit. For he came here 2 days ago and bore them away to his dwelling far off by the roots of the mountains. He often comes here, especially when his mind is uneasy, and rumors of the world outside trouble him. I saw him 4 days ago striding among the trees, and I think he saw me, for he paused, but I did not speak, for I was heavy with thought, and weary after my struggle with the Eye of Mordor, and he did not speak either, nor call my name. Perhaps he also thought that you were Saruman, said Gimli. But you speak of him as if he was a friend. I thought Fangorn was dangerous. Dangerous, cried Gandalf. And so am I, very dangerous, more dangerous than anything you will ever meet, unless you are brought alive before the seat of the Dark Lord. And Aragorn is dangerous, and Legolas is dangerous. You are beset with dangers, Gimli son of Gloin, for you are dangerous yourself, in your own fashion. Certainly the forest of Fangorn is perilous, not least to those that are too ready with their axes, and Fangorn himself, he is perilous too, yet he is wise and kindly nonetheless. But now his long slow wrath is brimming over, and all the forest is filled with it. The coming of the hobbits and the tidings that they brought have spilled it, it will soon be running like a flood, but its tide is turned against Saruman and the axes of Isengard. A thing is about to happen which has not happened since the elder days, the Ents are going to wake up and find that they are strong. What will they do? Asked Legolas in astonishment. I do not know, said Gandalf. I do not think they know themselves. I wonder. He fell silent, his head bowed in thought. The others looked at him. A gleam of sun through fleeting clouds fell on his hands, which lay now upturned on his lap. They seemed to be filled with light as a cup is with water. At last he looked up and gazed straight at the sun. The morning is wearing away, he said. Soon we must go. Do we go to find our friends and to see Treebeard? Asked Aragorn. No, said Gandalf. That is not the road that you must take. I have spoken words of hope. But only of hope. Hope is not victory. War is upon us and all our friends, a war in which only the use of the ring could give us surety of victory. It fills me with great sorrow and great fear, for much shall be destroyed and all may be lost. I am Gandalf, Gandalf the White, but black is mightier still. He rose and gazed out eastward, shading his eyes, as if he saw things far away that none of them could see. Then he shook his head. No, he said in a soft voice, it has gone beyond our reach. Of that at least let us be glad. We can no longer be tempted to use the ring. We must go down to face a peril near despair, yet that deadly peril is removed. He turned. Come, Aragorn son of Eredurn, he said. Do not regret your choice in the valley of the Iman Mule, nor call it a vain pursuit. You chose amid doubts the path that seemed right, the choice was just, and it has been rewarded. For so we have met in time, who otherwise might have met too late. But the quest of your companions is over. Your next journey is marked by your given word. You must go to Edoras and seek out Theoden in his hall. For you are needed. The light of Andúril must now be uncovered in the battle for which it has so long waited. There is war in Rohan, and worse evil, it goes ill with Theoden. Then are we not to see the merry young hobbits again, said Legolas. I did not say so, said Gandalf. Who knows? Have patience. Go where you must go, and hope. To Edoras. I go thither also. It is a long way for a man to walk, young or old, said Aragorn. I fear the battle will be over long ere I come there. We shall see, said Gandalf. Will you come now with me? Yes, we will set out together, said Aragorn. But I do not doubt that you will come there before me, if you wish. He rose and looked long at Gandalf. The others gazed at them in silence as they stood there facing one another. The grey figure of the man, Aragorn son of Eredurn, was tall, and stern as stone, his hand upon the hilt of his sword. He looked as if some king out of the mists of the sea had stepped upon the shores of lesser men. Before him stooped the old figure, white, shining now as if with some light kindled within, bent, laden with years, but holding a power beyond the strength of kings. Do I not say truly, Gandalf, said Aragorn at last, that you could go whithersoever you wished quicker than I? And this I also say, you are our captain and our banner. The Dark Lord has 9. But we have one, mightier than they, the White Rider. He has passed through the fire and the abyss, and they shall fear him. We will go where he leads. Yes, together we will follow you, said Legolas. But first, it would ease my heart, Gandalf, to hear what befell you in Moria. Will you not tell us? Can you not stay even to tell your friends how you were delivered? I have stayed already too long, answered Gandalf. Time is short. But if there were a year to spend, I would not tell you all. Then tell us what you will, and time allows, said Gimli. Come,
Just a second.
Gandalf, tell us how you fared with the Balrog. Name him not, said Gandalf, and for a moment it seemed that a cloud of pain passed over his face. Name him not, said Gandalf, and for a moment it seemed that a cloud of pain passed over his face, and he sat silent, looking old as death. Long time I fell, he said at last, slowly, as if thinking back with difficulty. Long I fell, and he fell with me. His fire was about me. I was burned. Then we plunged into the deep water and all was dark. Cold it was as the tide of death, almost it froze my heart. Deep is the abyss that is spanned by Durin's bridge, and none has measured it, said Gimli. Yet it has a bottom, beyond light and knowledge, said Gandalf. Thither I came at last, to the uttermost foundations of stone. He was with me still. His fire was quenched, but now he was a thing of slime, stronger than a strangling snake. We fought far under the living earth, where time is not counted. Ever he clutched me, and ever I hewed him, till at last he fled into dark tunnels. They were not made by Durin's folk, Gimli son of Gloin. Far, far below the deepest delving of the dwarves, the world is gnawed by nameless things. Even Sauron knows them not. They are older than he. Now I have walked there, but I will bring no report to darken the light of day. In that despair my enemy was my only hope, and I pursued him, clutching at his heel. Thus he brought me back at last to the secret ways of Hazad-dûm, too well he knew them all. Ever up now we went, until we came to the endless stair. Long has that been lost, said Gimli. Many have said that it was never made save in legend, but others say that it was destroyed. It was made, and it had not been destroyed, said Gandalf. From the lowest dungeon to the highest peak it climbed, ascending in unbroken spiral in many thousand steps, until it issued at last in Durin's tower carved in the living rock of Zyrak-Sigil, the pinnacle of the Silvertine. There upon Celebdile was a lonely window in the snow, and before it lay a narrow space, a dizzy area above the mists of the world. The sun shone fiercely there, but all below was wrapped in cloud. Out he sprang, and even as I came behind, he burst into new flame. There was none to see, or perhaps in after ages songs would still be sung of the Battle of the Peak. Suddenly Gandalf laughed. But what would they say in song? Those that looked up from afar thought that the mountain was crowned with storm. Thunder they heard, and lightning, they said, smote upon Celebdile, and leaped back broken into tongues of fire. Is not that enough? A great smoke rose about us, vapor and steam. Ice fell like rain. I threw down my enemy, and he fell from the high place and broke the mountainside where he smote it in his ruin. Then darkness took me, and I strayed out of thought and time, and I wandered far on roads that I will not tell. Naked I was sent back, for a brief time, until my task is done. And naked I lay upon the mountain top. The tower behind was crumbled into dust, the window gone, the ruined stair was choked with burned and broken stone. I was alone, forgotten, without escape upon the hard horn of the world. There I lay staring upward, while the stars wheeled over, and each day was as long as a life age of the earth. Faint to my ears came the gathered rumor of all lands, the springing and the dying, the song and the weeping, and the slow everlasting groan of overburdened stone. And so at the last Gwyer the Wind Lord found me again, and he took me up and bore me away. Ever am I fated to be your burden, friend at need, I said. A burden you have been, he answered, but not so now. Light as a swan's feather in my claw you are. The sun shines through you. Indeed I do not think you need me any more, were I to let you fall you would float upon the wind. Do not let me fall. I gasped, for I felt life in me again. Bear me to Lothlorien. That indeed is the command of the Lady Galadriel who sent me to look for you, he answered. Thus it was that I came to Karaz Galadon and found you but lately gone. I tarried there in the ageless time of that land where days bring healing not decay. Healing I found, and I was clothed in white. Counsel I gave and counsel took. Thence by strange roads I came, and messages I bring to some of you. To Aragorn I was bidden to say this. Where now are the Dunedain, Elisar, Elisar? Why do thy kinsfolk wander afar? Near is the hour when the lost should come forth, and the grey company ride from the north. But dark is the path appointed for thee. The dead watch the road that leads to the sea. To Legolas she sent this word. Legolas Greenleaf long under tree. In joy thou hast lived. Beware of the sea. If thou hearest the cry of the gull on the shore, thy heart shall then rest in the forest no more. Gandalf fell silent and shut his eyes. Then she sent me no message, said Gimli and bent his head. Dark are her words, said Legolas, and little do they mean to those that receive them. That is no comfort, said Gimli. What then, said Legolas. Would you have her speak openly to you of your death? Yes. If she had naught else to say. What is that, said Gandalf, opening his eyes. Yes, I think I can guess what her words may mean. Your pardon, Gimli. I was pondering the messages once again. But indeed she sent words to you, and neither dark nor sad. To Gimli son of Gloin, she said, give his lady's greeting. Lock-bearer, wherever thou goest my thought goes with thee. But have a care to lay thine axe to the right tree. In happy hour you have returned to us, Gandalf, cried the dwarf, capering as he sang loudly in the strange dwarf tongue. Come, come, he shouted, swinging his axe. Since Gandalf's head is now sacred, let us find one that it is right to cleave. That will not be far to seek, said Gandalf, rising from his seat. Come. We have spent all the time that is allowed to a meeting of parted friends. Now there is need of haste. He wrapped himself again in his old tattered cloak, and led the way. Following him they descended quickly from the high shelf and made their way back through the forest, down the bank of the Entwash. They spoke no more words, until they stood again upon the grass beyond the eaves of Fangorn. There was no sign of their horses to be seen. They have not returned, said Legolas. It will be a weary walk. I shall not walk, time presses, said Gandalf. Then lifting up his head he gave a long whistle. So clear and piercing was the note that the others stood amazed to hear such a sound come from those old bearded lips. 3 times he whistled, and then faint and far off it seemed to them that they heard the whinny of a horse borne up from the plains upon the eastern wind. They waited wondering. Before long there came the sound of hoofs, at first hardly more than a tremor of the ground perceptible only to Aragorn as he lay upon the grass, then growing steadily louder and clearer to a quick beat. There is more than one horse coming, said Aragorn. Certainly, said Gandalf. We are too great a burden for one. There are 3, said Legolas, gazing out over the plain. See how they run. There is Hashaful, and there is my friend Arod beside him. But there is another that strides ahead, a very great horse. I have not seen his like before. Nor will you again, said Gandalf. That is Shadowfax. He is the chief of the Miras, lords of horses, and not even Theoden, king of Rohan, has ever looked on a better. Does he not shine like silver, and run as smoothly as a swift stream? He has come for me, the horse of the White Rider. We are going to battle together. Even as the old wizard spoke, the great horse came striding up the slope towards them, his coat was glistening and his mane flowing in the wind of his speed. The two others followed, now far behind. As soon as Shadowfax saw Gandalf, he checked his pace and whinnied loudly, then trotting gently forward he stooped his proud head and nuzzled his great nostrils against the old man's neck. Gandalf caressed him. "It is a long way from Rivendell, my friend," he said, "but you are wise and swift and come at need. Far let us ride now together, and part not in this world again." Soon the other horses came up and stood quietly by, as if awaiting orders. "We go at once to Meduseld, the hall of your master, Theoden," said Gandalf, addressing them gravely. They bowed their heads. "Time presses, so with your leave, my friends, we will ride. We beg you to use all the speed that you can. Hasdrubal shall bear Aragorn and Arad Legolas. I will set Gimli before me, and by his leave Shadowfax shall bear us both. We will wait now only to drink a little." "Now I understand a part of last night's riddle," said Legolas as he sprang lightly upon Arad's back. "Whether they fled at first in fear, or not, our horses met Shadowfax, their chieftain, and greeted him with joy." "Did you know that he was at hand, Gandalf?" "Yes, I knew," said the wizard. "I bent my thought upon him, bidding him to make haste, for yesterday he was far away in the south of this land. Swiftly may he bear me back again." Gandalf spoke now to Shadowfax, and the horse set off at a good pace, yet not beyond the measure of the others. After a little while he turned suddenly, and choosing a place where the banks were lower, he waded the river, and then led them away due south into a flat land, treeless and wide. The wind went like grey waves through the endless miles of grass. There was no sign of road or track, but Shadowfax did not stay or falter. "He is steering a straight course now for the halls of Theoden under the slopes of the White Mountains," said Gandalf. "It will be quicker so. The ground is firmer in the East Emnet, where the chief northward track lies, across the river, but Shadowfax knows the way through every fen and hollow." For many hours they rode on through the meads and riverlands. Often the grass was so high that it reached above the knees of the riders, and their steeds seemed to be swimming in a grey-green sea. They came upon many hidden pools, and broad acres of sedge waving above wet and treacherous bogs, but Shadowfax found the way, and the other horses followed in his swath. Slowly the sun fell from the sky down into the west. Looking out over the great plain, far away the riders saw it for a moment like a red fire sinking into the grass. Low upon the edge of sight shoulders of the mountains glinted red upon either side. A smoke seemed to rise up and darken the sun's disk to the hue of blood, as if it had kindled the grass as it passed down under the rim of earth. "There lies the Gap of Rohan," said Gandalf. "It is now almost due west of us. That way lies Isengard." "I see a great smoke," said Legolas. "What may that be?" "Battle and war," said Gandalf. "Ride on." Chapter 6. The King of the Golden Hall. They rode on through sunset, and slow dusk, and gathering night. When at last they halted and dismounted, even Aragorn was stiff and weary. Gandalf only allowed them a few hours' rest. Legolas and Gimli slept and Aragorn lay flat, stretched upon his back, but Gandalf stood, leaning on his staff, gazing into the darkness, east and west. All was silent, and there was no sign or sound of living thing. The night was barred with long clouds, fleeting on a chill wind, when they arose again. Under the cold moon they went on once more, as swift as by the light of day. Hours passed and still they rode on. Gimli nodded and would have fallen from his seat, if Gandalf had not clutched and shaken him. Hasdrubal and Arad, weary but proud, followed their tireless leader, a grey shadow before them hardly to be seen. The miles went by. The waxing moon sank into the cloudy west. A bitter chill came into the air. Slowly in the east the dark faded to a cold grey. Red shafts of light leapt above the black walls of the Emyn Muil far away upon their left. Dawn came clear and bright, a wind swept across their path, rushing through the bent grasses. Suddenly Shadowfax stood still and neighed. Gandalf pointed ahead. "Look," he cried, and they lifted their tired eyes. Before them stood the mountains of the south, white-tipped and streaked with black. The grasslands rolled against the hills that clustered at their feet, and flowed up into many valleys still dim and dark, untouched by the light of dawn, winding their way into the heart of the great mountains. Immediately before the travelers the widest of these glens opened like a long gulf among the hills. Far inward they glimpsed a tumbled mountain mass with one tall peak. At the mouth of the vale there stood like sentinel a lonely height. About its feet there flowed, as a thread of silver, the stream that issued from the dale. Upon its brow they caught, still far away, a glint in the rising sun, a glimmer of gold. "Speak, Legolas," said Gandalf. "Tell us what you see there before us." Legolas gazed ahead, shading his eyes from the level shafts of the new risen sun. "I see a white stream that comes down from the snows," he said. "Where it issues from the shadow of the vale a green hill rises upon the east. A dike and mighty wall and thorny fence encircle it. Within there rise the roofs of houses, and in the midst, set upon a green terrace, there stands aloft a great hall of men. And it seems to my eyes that it is thatched with gold. The light of it shines far over the land. Golden, too, are the posts of its doors. There men in bright mail stand, but all else within the courts are yet asleep." "Edoras those courts are called," said Gandalf, "and Meduseld is that golden hall. There dwells Theoden son of Thegel, king of the Mark of Rohan. We are come with the rising of the day. Now the road lies plain to see before us. But we must ride more warily, for war is abroad, and the Rohirrim, the horse lords, do not sleep, even if it seems so from afar. Draw no weapon, speak no haughty word, I counsel you all, until we are come before Theoden's seat." The morning was bright and clear about them, and birds were singing, when the travelers came to the stream. It ran down swiftly into the plain, and beyond the feet of the hills turned across their path in a wide bend, flowing away east to feed the Entwash far off in its reed-choked beds. The land was green, in the wet meads and along the grassy borders of the stream grew many willow trees. Already in this southern land they were blushing red at their fingertips. Feeling the approach of spring. Over the stream there was a ford between low banks much trampled by the passage of horses. The travelers passed over and came upon a wide rutted track leading towards the uplands. At the foot of the walled hill the way ran under the shadow of many mounds, high and green. Upon their western sides the grass was white as with a drifted snow, small flowers sprang there like countless stars amid the turf. "Look," said Gandalf. "How fair are the bright eyes in the grass. Evermine they are called, Symbelmine in this land of men, for they blossom in all the seasons of the year, and grow where dead men rest. Behold! We are come to the great barrows where the sires of Theoden sleep. 7 mounds upon the left, and 9 upon the right," said Aragorn. "Many long lives of men it is since the Golden Hall was built. 500 times have the red leaves fallen in Mirkwood in my home since then," said Legolas, "and but a little while does that seem to us." "But to the riders of the Mark it seems so long ago," said Aragorn, "that the raising of this house is but a memory of song, and the years before are lost in the mist of time. Now they call this land their home, their own, and their speech is sundered from their northern kin." Then he began to chant softly in a slow tongue unknown to the elf and dwarf, yet they listened, for there was a strong music in it. "That, I guess, is the language of the Rohirrim," said Legolas, "for it is like to this land itself, rich and rolling in part, and else hard and stern as the mountains. But I cannot guess what it means, save that it is laden with the sadness of mortal men." "It runs thus in the common speech," said Aragorn, "as near as I can make it. Where now the horse and the rider? Where is the horn that was blowing? Where is the helm and the hauberk, and the bright hair flowing? Where is the hand on the harp string, and the red fire glowing? Where is the spring and the harvest and the tall corn growing? They have passed like rain on the mountain, like a wind in the meadow. The days have gone down in the west behind the hills into shadow. Who shall gather the smoke of the dead wood burning? Or behold the flowing years from the sea returning? Thus spoke a forgotten poet long ago in Rohan, recalling how tall and fair was Eorl the Young, who rode down out of the north, and there were wings upon the feet of his steed, Philaroth, father of horses. So men still sing in the evening. With these words the travellers passed the silent mounds. Following the winding way up the green shoulders of the hills, they came at last to the wide wind-swept walls and the gates of Edoras. There sat many men in bright mail, who sprang at once to their feet and barred the way with spears. "Stay, strangers here unknown," they cried in the tongue of the Riddermark, demanding the names and errand of the strangers. Wonder was in their eyes but little friendliness, and they looked darkly upon Gandalf. "Well do I understand your speech," he answered in the same language, "yet few strangers do so. Why then do you not speak in the common tongue, as is the custom in the West, if you wish to be answered?" "It is the will of Theoden King that none should enter his gates, save those who know our tongue and are our friends," replied one of the guards. "None are welcome here in days of war but our own folk, and those that come from Mundburg in the land of Gondor. Who are you that come heedless over the plain thus strangely clad, riding horses like to our own horses? Long have we kept guard here, and we have watched you from afar. Never have we seen other riders so strange, nor any horse more proud than is one of these that bear you. He is one of the Miras, unless our eyes are cheated by some spell. Say, are you not a wizard, some spy from Saruman, or phantoms of his craft? Speak now and be swift." "We are no phantoms," said Aragorn, "nor do your eyes cheat you. For indeed these are your own horses that we ride, as you knew well are you asked, I guess. But seldom does thief ride home to the stable. Here are Hashafal and Arad, that Eomer, the third marshal of the Mark, lent to us, only 2 days ago. We bring them back now, even as we promised him. Has not Eomer then returned and given warning of our coming?" A troubled look came into the guard's eyes. "Of Eomer I have naught to say," he answered. "If what you tell me is truth, then doubtless Theoden will have heard of it. Maybe your
I gotta
coming
say
was
goodbye.
not wholly
Bye.
unlawful."